Hey, we're live. We'll just give it about 30 seconds to let people join, but we are going to do fireworks and how to photograph fireworks. So if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. Not sure how long this will be. I will have this on my YouTube channel, so you can come back to it if you missed the live version. What I have looping right now on the screen is from fireworks last night in Aurora, Indiana. I used my drone for this. So I learned a lot last night. I've done fireworks a lot over the years, film cameras to digital. So let's just jump right in. So let me stop this video so that we can get into some fun. So if do me a favor while I'm doing this, let me know where you're from and where you're watching this from. If you're local here to the Cincinnati area, I live down in Southeast Indiana, but let me know where you're watching from. Put it in the comments, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. Those are 3 places I'm streaming. Let me know where you're from. So like I said, I'm in Southeast Indiana. And also put in chat for me things that you would want to learn about fireworks and how you photograph them. I've had some interesting experiences over the years, and that's what I'm going to share with you. I've had some mistakes that turned into successes. Last night was a first time for me to take firework photos with my drone, which I don't have as much freedom on the manual settings as I do with a camera. So I learned some cool things last night. And that's what the video was. That was from my drone last night. So I got a couple things to go over. So like I said, if you do me a favor, put your questions in the chat so I know if you have any questions. So I will pull into my comment section, see if I've got any comments yet. Not yet. I don't mind if this is not widely viewed live. The purpose of this is just to give people some opportunity to learn how to do photos with fireworks. So let's jump right in. The settings, I've got a lot of videos, and I will show you on my YouTube channel where some of those are and how to find them. But there's 3 settings you want to deal with. Well, 4. The 3 is the photography triangle, the exposure triangle that a lot of people want to learn. And the exposure triangle can be daunting. It can be overwhelming, but let's keep it simple. So the 3 parts of the triangle are ISO. That's how fast the film is, in this case, the sensitivity of your sensor and your digital camera. We have shutter speed. That's how fast it opens and closes. And then finally, we have aperture. So for simplicity, put your ISO on 100 or 200, one of those 2. Let's keep it as low as possible. I typically put it on 100 and leave it there. Last night was a lot different, and I'll share that with you in a little bit. Your shutter speed is going to really vary. So let's skip that right now. And aperture, I want you to set it to something like f8 to f11 in that range. And pretty much leave it there. Move it around if you need, but for the most part, you get some cool photos with that range. Now, shutter speed. This is, I've played with shutter speeds all across the spectrum for fireworks. I've done it with a very fast shutter speed, and that's hard because you really got to capture the firework during it. But the good thing about fireworks, when it explodes, it's there for 4 to 5 seconds. So you're going to get some good shots with a relatively fast shutter speed, say 1/50th of a second to 1/500th of a second. But your firework might be a little dim, so you're going to go towards the lower end of that. That's if you're doing handheld, and that's when you can use that faster shutter speed for that. If you have a tripod, set that up, and you can go with a lot slower shutter speeds, like 1 second up to 30 seconds, 2 minutes, however long you want to go. So the benefit of having it open for a long time is you can get multiple fireworks in. But you also got to be careful, because if the background, the scene that you're in, is well lit, it's going to be overblown and exposed too much. My sweet spot on fireworks for my shutter speed is between 1 second and 5 seconds. 5 seconds will usually give you 2 or 3 explosions if you time it right. You can also use an intervalometer if your camera has the option to take a picture every so many seconds. Tell it to take a picture every 5 seconds, and just let it sit there and just move the camera around on your tripod till you get a couple good shots. It's a matter of chance. So the 4th setting, which is not part of the exposure triangle, is focus. Focus is really hard. Cameras do not focus well at night. And when you're waiting for fireworks, there's nothing in the sky to focus on. So what I have found to work really good for me is move my focus ring all the way to infinity, put it on manual first, move it all the way to infinity, and then just back it off maybe 1/8 of an inch. That typically gives me nice, sharp photos. Play with that a little bit, but that seemed to work for me. But this was my photos from last week, or last night. This was in Aurora, Indiana. I wanted to get these churches in the background. I took my drone up and it was still semi-light, so I could actually see where I was flying. I had a lot of power lines. You really can't see them here a whole lot. You can see some poles here, but I'm underneath some trees here, and I got poles crisscrossing on a crosswalk. And right at a hill on the intersection, so I've got a lot of places to watch out for when I'm flying. So I took it up early just to get an idea where to fly. So when the fireworks finally started, so you can check out my settings. This is similar to being handheld when you're looking at this. So we're at 1/15 of a second up in the top left-hand corner. You can see I got f2.8, and I put my ISO at 1600. So this is all handheld. So the numbers I was giving you before, I did a lookup right before the fireworks and asked the question in Bing, do I need an ND filter for fireworks on my drone? And someone actually made a comment. Just think about you're capturing light on a light stream. You're doing light painting or whatever. What settings would you want? And then use those settings. So I quit looking further from that. So I started looking for ways to light the city. So that's why I put the ISO at 1600 and f2.8. If I went higher on my f-stop or went lower on my ISO, the city became pretty dark. And I went with 1/15 of a second. I was afraid it was going to be pretty fuzzy, but take a look at the church steeple. It looks pretty darn sharp. You can see a little motion in vehicles that are moving, not a whole lot, but that's fine. I kind of like that. Let's look at another one here. This is 1/5 of a second. City's still lit up. I increased the ISO to 3200, kept the same f-stop. And this one's pretty cool because you can see the smoke coming off of it from the barge where they're lighting the fireworks. This one here, I am at 1/5 of a second again. This would be similar to handheld. This is 1/15 of a second. I bumped the ISO even up further. Camera's technology today, years ago, people would have been appalled shooting at 6400 ISO. Even 1600 ISO, they would be appalled. But this is new technology. There's not a whole lot of noise. We actually can probably see quite a bit. I'm sure some photographers will look at this and say it's really noisy. But I could edit that post. I did not edit these a whole lot. Mostly just did some white balance correction and a little bit pulling shadows up here and there. But for the most part, this is pretty much out of camera. This one here, 1/15 of a second, still 6400 ISO and 2.8. This one here, I dropped the ISO all the way down to 100. Hopefully you don't hear my dog upstairs too much. But this one is at 1 second. And if there's anything moving on the street, you'll definitely see some motion from those. But you're not seeing a whole lot of motion because I'm pretty far away. So don't worry if you got something like that set up. And did another one at that same setting. And then when we got to the finale, I was at 1/10 of a second. I needed to go a little bit faster. I had to work on this one a little bit. The fireworks are pretty blown out. I toned it down a little bit, believe it or not, but that's what it looks like. This one was my favorite one. So tell me what you think. All right, here we are in this session right now. If I go to the little search bar, well, first you can get to this by going to YouTube and searching for practicing photography. So right here, if I click on the zoom, search for fireworks, I created several of these in the years past. Some of them are long, some of them are short, as you can see. 1-minute tutorial. I've got fireworks for beginners. It's a playlist. Got several to look at. So what I learned over the years, and this one was this post here, 4 incredible, unique ways to photograph fireworks. There's the way I've just talked about using a tripod. I made a mistake one time. And when I made a mistake, I actually, what I'd done is I'd forgot my tripod. Yeah. So when I forgot my tripod, I almost thought, well, I'll just leave the camera in the car. No sense of using, doing fireworks. I ruined them. So instead, I brought my camera out and I did what I thought I invented something called intentional camera movement. And I didn't invent it at all. It's actually a thing already. But I hadn't heard about it. So in my head, I had actually invented it. But of course I didn't. So I did intentional camera movement. There's a couple ways of doing it. One is you just hold the camera and you move it back and forth, move it up and down. You can zoom. If you got a zoom, turn your zoom in and out so it goes in and out as you do it. Again, stick with 1 to 5 seconds for exposure. In this case, probably 1 to 2 seconds. If you get to 5, it's a long zoom or it's a slow movement. You'll have to play with that. So I did that one year. It was a mistake. So then the following year, I thought, well, I could probably add another method. So we've got the standard tripod method, we've got a zooming method, and we've got a panning method. And the fourth method is doing the same movements but on a tripod. So now I've got the tripod. I didn't forget it this time. Put the camera on it. Now I pan on the tripod, and it's much smoother, much smoother. And if I share back that screen, let me show you back to the screen here. If I scroll up on it, you might see where I've got a couple of them like that. Yeah, this one right here. This one here was the panning on a tripod. So it's a nice smooth movement. It's pretty awesome. I had a lot of fun with that one. So it's so easy. Like I said, fireworks are not hard to do. It's light painting, except all the light painting is done for you. You don't have to do any drawing with lights or flashlights or pen lights or anything. All the light painting is done with fireworks. You really can't go wrong. You can use your iPhone, your Android. You can use a SLR camera, DLSR, mirrorless, you name it. Use whatever you want. Any of those cameras will be just fine. So feel free to play and practice with that. Share your photos with me. You can find me on my website. If I want to bring that up, let me switch back to a semi-full screen. And if I come up over here to photomentum.com, you'll find my website, and it just defaults to my blog. I do drone services, I do portraits, but my blog gets the most hits, so I just put it up there. Now, one thing, I just moved my blog to Squarespace from Zenfolio last December, and before this call, I was looking for fireworks blog posts, and I don't have any here. I know I had them over there, and I still have Zenfolio, so I'll go find them and I'll try to put them on here. I think I have a PDF that talks about different settings. But if you watch this video, you've seen my theory on what I do. So what I learned last night. So this was my epiphany last night. Let's go ahead and get rid of this screen here. Let's go to full screen of me again so we can talk. The thing that I learned last night is the handheld version works just fine. There's a rule of thumb, I think it's 1-to-1. If you have 50 millimeter lens, you should be shooting at 1/50th of a second or faster. So in fireworks, you want to be as wide as possible. So if you've got a kit lens with your camera, it's usually 18 to 35. Go all the way to 18 millimeters and go all the way down to 1/20th of a second when you take these photos if you're doing handheld. Just take a deep breath when you take the photo, hold it real still, snap that shutter. 1/20th a second goes pretty fast. For light, it's pretty slow, but you'll get pretty sharp pictures that way. But anyway, the thing I was getting towards is something to enhance your photos to get some foreground in it. That's why I used my drone last night. I was able to get 3, 4, 5 blocks away from the fireworks, put some church steeples in the foreground. So try to get some foreground in your photos. It could be your family and they'll silhouette if you're in front of you. Go ahead and put the camera low to the ground. Get some stuff in the beginning in the foreground of it. If you've got some buildings, make sure they're part of the photo too. Otherwise, it's just a beautiful firework, which they're beautiful photos, but everyone does those type. So take a few minutes, see what's in the background, see what's in the foreground. Foreground's where you're going to get most bang for your buck. So give that a shot. So a couple of places to find me. Obviously, my website, photomentum.com. If I put this back up here, it's going to let me share screen, go to Photomentum again. And there you'll find me here at photomentum.com. That's a good place to be. Another place to find me, but my YouTube channel is called Practicing Photography. And Practicing Photography, if you go to youtube.com/@ Practicing Photography, you'll find me, or just search for Practicing Photography. I show up. You can see my photo. It looks like this. The way I've got to this list is I click search and put fireworks in there. You'll find all my fireworks videos I've done over the past couple of years. And it pretty much explains everything we talked about today, but there they are if you want to watch those recordings. So do me a couple favors, hit the subscribe and like if you haven't already. And this is Doug Gabbard, Practicing Photography. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.